Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the cosmic troubadour of Southern Soul, King Corduroy.
Oh, you just tuned in to King Corduroy Presents, and today's guest is my good buddy, Adam Meisterhans. Since moving to Nashville from West Virginia in 2013, Adam has become one of the most in-demand producers, guitarists, and multi-instrumentalists. He's worked with artists including Tyler Childers, Jill Andrews, Patrick Sweeney, Joshua Hedley, Lily May, Lauren Morrow, J.P. Harris, William Matheny, Pujol, Kelsey Walden, and he's currently on tour with Jesse Wells. In addition to being a sideman and session player, he's also a founding member of Roswell Kid, Prison Book Club, and the Demon Beat. Adam's professionalism, preparedness, versatility, and amiable personality lead him to fit seamlessly into any musical situation. He's available for touring gigs, session work, remote recording, and even lessons. So I recommend you reach out to him on his website or social media. I'll put the links below. It was a great chat. We talked all things music. He showed off his 1971 gold top Les Paul, and we played one of my songs at the end, which I was thinking about. I didn't even tell him the changes. We just went right into it, and to show what the pro he is, he killed it. And I wanted to let you know, this episode is brought to you with support from Nashville Custom Hats. They provide fully customized hats with unlimited options. Check out NashvilleCustomHats.com for more info. And also, please like and subscribe to my channel. I need you, people. All right. Yeah.
Nice. Impressive.
Adam Meisterhans, welcome on.
Here we are.
Adam Meisterhans.
Hans.
Adam Meisterhans, welcome on.
Yeah. Hans works too. People say that. It's close.
You're accepting all the above?
Yeah, you made it to the last syllable. It works for me, man.
Okay, so we're buddies, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad to have you on.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to be here. You got a beautiful setup.
Thank you. It was
Yeah.
fun to show it to you. It's always fun to show it off to anybody.
Yeah. It's inspiring, man. It really is. Like you've done a lot in here.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll turn the cameras around on the rest of the room.
Dude, I think people would be pretty blown away.
Well, I am just like, I have so many things I want to talk to you about, honestly. And but I felt like where we should start is you're from West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, like, in doing research, there's all kinds of artists that are blowing up right now or have that like came from your scene.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's weird to start naming because you'll forget. But like, John Miller is somebody I kind of came up with.
In the Prison Book Club.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that project.
Yeah.
So did that form around kind of a club in your scene where everybody played in your town, or how did y'all come across each other?
Yeah, it was kind of I guess it was technically a scene of but we're talking maybe 40 people, you know what I mean, total. Yeah. And so it was just different configurations of the same, from the same pool. And so we were all friends, and I had a band that was a 3-piece. This guy Tucker Riggleman and Jordan Hudkins. Tucker and I started, he and John started Prison Book Club. Okay. They were friends. John had a band called the Fox Hunt, and then Jordan started a band called Roswell Kid. And so we were all like, we're just in each other's bands, helping make each other's records and stuff. So it was pretty, it's not unlike the music community here, except instead of it being a few thousand people, yeah, at least, there were only a few thousand people in that town. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the population of that town, literally just a couple thousand.
Yeah, I think maybe it's different now, but when I was there, it was probably 2,500 to 3,000 people. Then when school was in session, it maybe almost doubled, but it was pretty small.
And what's that town again?
Shepherdstown.
And what's the school there?
Shepherd University.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's like a liberal arts school?
Yeah, pretty small liberal arts school, and it's a cool place, man. It's right on the Potomac. It's right across from Sharpsburg, Maryland, which is Antietam is right there. So you're in the thick of some some real shit.
Crazy history.
Crazy history, man. Yeah.
And then coal mining too. Is that coal mining area?
No, that's Eastern Panhandle.
Okay.
And then coal mining is like more kind of mountains in the west. It's kind of in the other parts, but it's a weird little town, man. Like a Rockefeller has a house there.
Oh, wow.
And then it's a bunch of kind of crusty townies and weirdo musicians and also just like regular ass people going to college and work.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little microcosm, so, but it's very different from where I grew up. There's nothing liberal arts about where I grew up. So.
And that's a different town than.
Yeah. So if that's the state, I'm from over here. Is that frame? Yeah. I'm from over here, right on the Ohio River. And then where I went to school is over here. So it's about 5 hours. It's about as far away as you can be from two places in West Virginia. So
that almost looked like it could have been a gang sign for West Virginia.
Yeah. It's its own type of gang.
So was there like Pentecostal preachers in your area, like snake handling type stuff?
No, there's some of that in the state for sure. That's maybe a little south of it. I grew up in a Methodist church, pretty low key.
And your mom played piano in the church?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she was in the choir, and I mean it was a small church, like Easter Sunday, maybe 90 people kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean so it was a beautiful place to grow up. It's pretty rural, but in that town there's 2 plastics plants.
Oh.
And I was downriver from both of them, so.
That's the industry.
Yeah.
And that's not good for your water.
It's not good for your water, but it's good for other things, I guess. But it was good for other things.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much now. Plastics aren't really like, it's for good reason looked down upon.
Yeah, man, people got to earn money in that town, so industry is really important.
Yeah, man, it gives you a good understanding about like, I mean, I feel like with touring, we have a pretty good idea of like how big this country is, how varied it is.
Yeah.
And the life experiences you can have, how just disparate they can be. And growing up in a place like that, you understand what industry does for a place. And when it's gone, or when it changes hands, or, man, it could, you see how things can change or shift, and it couldn't be further from like, I mean, Nashville, the idea of 1 million people being in one place is completely, foreign to where I grew up.
And 1 million jobs. There's so,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And like, opportunities musically too. It's just like, there's no place that I know of in America where you can be like what I do as a sideman. I can't think of another place in America where there's this many jobs for this many people. It's a very specific job. And you can, there's other places you can do it, and there's other places where there's amazing music, but in terms of an industry that can support, thousands of people who want to play guitar for a living, it's crazy.
It really is.
Really crazy, so.
Yeah, it's no doubt that this is the center of the music industry.
Yeah.
And yeah, agreed. And especially like as a sideman, where you want to find yourself is like landing a good touring gig, or plenty of gigs to play around town. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you have a lot of insight there. So I wanted to jump into that, but before we move to you coming to Nashville, that scene there in West Virginia, what else was going on at the time? You were in Roswell Kid, so that was like you're all in, that was like a band that y'all went for it. You were touring all over the country. What was your Roswell Kid experience?
Well, okay, so the band prior to that I mentioned, the 3-piece was called the Demon Beat, and we lived together in the same house, and that was a band for maybe 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And so towards the tail end of that was when Roswell Kid started. And yeah, I mean, it started from like Jordan had a bunch of songs he had written, and he plays everything. So his recordings were just him playing everything. I played a little bit of guitar on it and helped him record the earliest stuff, but it just slowly, like, he started doing that more, and then just very slowly it was like, you know, we shifted to that a little more. And then when I moved here in 2013, we kind of started touring a little bit more, and then it ramped up. We had a record that came out, and the band that put it out took us on the road for a 6-week tour.
Who was that?
The World is a Beautiful Place, and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die is the full band name.
That's the name of the band.
That's the name of the band.
They go with an acronym on that, or what?
Even the acronym they have is just the first half of that, I think.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, man, I mean, they were really good to us, and on that first tour we were on, we got offered another one. You know, it just kind of, we had enough work that we were able to burn out in a couple of years. Not to just make light of it, but you know, it was an extreme amount in a relatively small window.
Yeah, dude, it's easy to burn out for sure. Like, that's another whole thing, is like mental health on the road and trying to survive personalities and conditions. And I know you made a comment about the longest one-off you ever did was with that band. Is that right?
That was with the Demon Beat.
That was with the Demon. Okay, what was that? Tell me that.
You'll be able to relate to maybe every single part of this, but because where are you from again?
I'm from Montgomery, Alabama.
Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah. Okay, so basically, you know, this would have been, I don't know, 2008 or 9, something like that.
Okay.
And at that point, it was like, if you played South by Southwest, that was a thing every independent band was trying to get to.
Well, that's where I was actually in 2008. I was in Austin. I lived there for 6 years. So.
Okay, so
I definitely know about the landscape of South by.
Yeah, which is its whole other microcosm. But so it was, you know, for us, it was like, well, we got to find a way to get there. We got to find a way to do that. And on MySpace, we got hit up by, man, I'm spacing on the name of the place, but it was in Jackson, Mississippi. There's a venue got a hold of us and was like, hey, you know, we like the band. If you guys ever want to come through. So we're like, oh, well, Jackson's like between here and Austin.
Yeah,
so
in a way.
If we have a place, yeah, in a way. Yeah, technically, you know. And so it was like, well, man, if we had a place we could play on our way down, that'd be good for us. So we were like, well, we'll do the gig in Jackson, and then whenever we are able to book ourselves for South by, we'll have a place we can go on the way. It's just very circuitous. But at the time, it was like that made as much sense as anything, you know? So, yeah, we did that one-off with no guarantee.
I was about to say, yeah, the guarantee was probably not too much.
We ended up making $500 because what happened was, at this place, you had to have... to get into the bar itself, there was a downstairs and an upstairs. To get into the bar itself, you had to pay the cover. So there was a wedding party, like an after party, in the downstairs bar, and then we played in the upstairs bar. And so, you know, I don't know, a couple, maybe 150 people or something, but $10, you know. So it ended up, yeah, we made $500, and that was maybe the first time as a band we had made that.
Whoa, dude, and y'all were on cloud nine.
Dude, it was like, that's the most money you can get from a gig is $500. And I think we talked about, it was maybe that gig or another. One time when we made $500, we were like, oh my God, we could pay to go to a hotel. Is that crazy? You know?
Yeah, what were y'all touring in, like a passenger van?
Yeah. Jordan had I think at that point maybe it was a Ford Windstar. And we had a small enough, you know, it was a 3-piece band.
Everybody gets their own bench?
Yeah. No, it's just a
Windstar,
regular.
That's a minivan.
It's a minivan.
Oh, goodness.
So we all had our own seat. But yeah, it was just like a seat got taken out so we could fit a drum kit that, you know, Russian Doll style fit together.
Yeah.
And then I had just a little combo amp, a couple guitars, bass amp. You know, everything we did was to like try and make it as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
And so, you know, funnily enough, the least efficient thing you could do is drive to Mississippi for a one-off. for no money. But everything else, we try to make efficient.
Well, yeah, it would have been better off with like Memphis or here. You should probably cut over on the
Just
40.
Anything.
Yeah. But I mean, $500 is $500, especially in 2008.
Yeah.
Wait, so y'all applied for South by online and you were like got in officially, or?
I don't even know if we did that. I think it was, Tucker booked everything, and so he, like, through a friend of a friend, there was a promoter there who got us on maybe a couple gigs that were like, there were official gigs, then a bunch of other gigs, and I think this was somewhere in the middle.
No, I mean, that's the secret when, like, if living in Austin, the perspective of everyone is like, how many gigs can I play? And it's also so hard to get accepted to South by if you're from Austin.
Oh,
it's
right.
really hard, dude.
Yeah.
And if you are official at South by, then you only get to play what they give you. Sometimes they only give you one gig, and then you're not supposed to play anything else. So if you go there unofficial and have contacts, you could wind up maybe playing, 10 shows, whatever.
Yeah, I remember one year as a sideman, like later on, I had just moved here and I was playing with some artists that I had played with previously and then some Nashville artists. And for however it worked out, I think I played 10 gigs. I remember walking down 6th with a combo amp and like a pedal board on my back and like a gig bag. And I was like, what am I doing? This is crazy.
Wait, do you remember some of the spots you played?
Oh, man. Was it Hotel Vegas? Was that a spot?
Yeah, on the east side. I used to play there.
Yeah.
That place was groovy, man.
It was cool. One year I saw Rocky Erickson there.
Oh,
with a
okay.
badass backing band. And they were doing like Two-Headed Dog. And
when the Moving Sidewalks reunited, was it that year? That might have been a little later.
I don't think so. It was like some younger dudes in the band or whatever.
Okay.
So it wouldn't have been that. Because I feel like, yeah.
There was a documentary that came out about him. It might have been around that time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was, and I mean, they were having to help him on stage. But man, he sounded great. And the band was killer. They did all those like, is it I Think of Demons or whatever? There's that one record like has all the kind of alien songs on it. So good, man.
Yeah.
Really, really amazing. But the band nailed it. And yeah, I would play with an artist that was associated with Burger Records.
Who was that artist?
Time. Fletcher C. Johnson.
Okay.
He's a New York guy. And
I feel like to stay linear,
mm-hmm.
we're in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
You get $500
mm-hmm.
off this gig because of the wedding party arriving, saving the day.
Mm-hmm. It was like, if we play in Jackson, then later on, if we get booked for South by Southwest, we'll have a place we can go.
Oh, this was preparation for the future.
Yeah.
To be in Jackson.
We were making an investment in our tour routing.
Well, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was, I could be wrong on this. I want to say it was 15 hours one way. So we drove down, did the gig. I think they had a place you could stay out back maybe, and maybe it was another time that we like sprung for the hotel room, but man, it was, it was a beautiful time though, man. It really bonds you when you're like, you live together, you're trying to go towards this thing. You don't really know what to do or how to do it. There's this like, carrot on a string on a stick in front of you.
Yep.
That's like, well, you got to do the next step. And I was like, well, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
You see it above you. You see bands that are have booking agents or managers or whatever, and they're playing cool places, and you're like, whoa, how do we get closer to that? And so that's how we were, we weren't afraid to do work, but it was like trying to get to the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was so, it gets really tiring, And so when I moved here, it was such a drastic change because it was like the work is all around you.
Mm-hmm.
As long as if you know how to learn songs and you're like a reasonably cool person, as long as you're not a tyrant, you'll work, man. It's around, and so it was just like it was so different, but man, that time with that group of people in the different bands we were in, man, I learned how to do everything. I learned how to learn songs, record, be in a van for hours
Yep.
without like driving each other crazy,
Yes.
for a group of people that live together and we're touring in that way, man, we got along pretty well, you know?
Yeah, there's no escaping each other. Yeah. Also, just being a good teammate. I feel like that's something people don't realize early on.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't know what it's like to be somebody outside the music industry or outside of touring, what the perception is, but it's like, man, it's so much of it is just you're in a vehicle or on a plane and you got to go through the airport with people that you might not even know. You might know one of them or something.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's the situation, and it's just like, man, you know, I do find that a lot of touring musicians are pretty flexible people, you know, mentally. Pretty like elastic in the sense that, like, man, shit might change pretty drastically, pretty immediately, and you've got to be able to, like, you know, adjust.
No doubt.
And you and for, you know, for you, there's even another layer to that where it's like, man, you're in charge of it. You know what I mean? You're the one that's like, you know, you're the ringleader, and that's a whole different. I've never had to do that, really. So, you know.
Well, that makes me think of so a gig can be one of three things. It can be good money, a good hang, or good music. And if you can get 2 out of the 3, that's pretty good as a sideman.
Yeah. Sometimes if you can get one.
Just one.
Yeah. It's just, man, you know. But I will say, you know, there is a certain amount of gig calculus that we all, you know, you have it when you get an offer for a show or something. You know what is worth it to eat it on and what isn't.
Yep. And
for a side musician, it's, you know, it's like, what do you want to invest in? And sometimes it's like I played a show last night with this great songwriter. The band was killer, a bunch of friends, and everybody is like, I feel honored to be in the mix. But it was like, none of us, we didn't talk money beforehand. And it turned out that somebody had hired us specifically to play this place, and there was some money, but it was like, I didn't go there because, like, it wasn't even a thought. It was just like, I love this guy, I love this music, I love these people, but I'm not, you know, I'm certainly not going to advertise that I do that all the time.
Oh, buddy. Well, that's interesting you bring up, just for, because that was my whole Austin experience. Also, coming from Alabama to Austin, every gig in Austin was 3 Musketeers. And, you know, we all stick our hands in that jar and whatever comes out. But coming here with the artist mindset and wanting to have sidemen, I always am like guaranteeing money to people now, and that's made me play less. So that's really, I love hearing that was your motivation, was just who's that artist, if you don't mind me?
That was with Brian Wright.
Oh, I love Brian.
Brian's amazing, man. And I don't mean to, like, you know, it's just, you know how the money shit works here, especially if it's not like, I mean, it's D's. So it's like, you know, even if you have a big draw, it's D's. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what their offers are there, but like, I've certainly played a lot of free gigs there, you know?
Yeah.
And with that's no shade on anybody.
Yeah.
It's hard, man.
Well, it's hard. Yeah, it's a cover charge. You're trying to draw people in a town where there's so much music happening. Sometimes there's a lot of bands on the bill there too, so then it's a lot of hands in the cookie jar.
I don't know how, this is not like that much of an exaggeration or me being like facetious. Like, I don't know how anybody is making any money. Yeah. I mean, it's like, sometimes I'll go into a business and think that. It's like, man, why is everybody here? Not in a shitty way, just like, man, the finances of it, and, you know, playing with somebody now that has, like, you know, sizable draw in some places, it's like, even then, it's like, man, the cost of putting on this show, of us getting there, how many people are involved to get us there and get everything on stage, the management and booking agents that
25% out the door right there.
Yeah, and all the emails and everything to get the thing going and to route it, and then everybody at the venue, you know, you see how many bartenders are there, you see, you know, it's just like, man, I would love to see the finances at the end of the night, just like what came in, what went out, where it went, And, you know,
that's where merch comes in for the artists. Merch is everything, right?
I feel like that's where things are now for sure. And I need to offer the caveat that, like, you know, I'm a side musician. I have a limited scope of what I understand about the music industry, but I will say that, like, it seems to be now that unless you're selling above a certain threshold of tickets, then you are crossing your fingers that merch makes up for it. And that's a lot of people, man. It's a lot of people depending on that. And then the artists that are selling a lot of tickets, man, merch is paying for half the people on the road. You know what I mean? It's I don't know, man. I don't pretend to understand it, but I do observe.
Yeah, well, or like they used to say, the old industry model was you make your money off the record, you tour to promote the record, but now you got to tour to sell the record and the merch, because people aren't buying, you know, albums at a record store. They're streaming it for fractions of a penny each play.
Yeah, man. I find that, like, once again, this is, I try and, like, toe the line between cynicism and realism, but it's like, it's good to remind yourself that, like, the music industry is payola and vaudeville and money laundering. That is what it is. And it's been that since the beginning. And it shifts, but it's like, man, what's the difference in, like, Spotify charging you whatever it is, like $15 to have access to things they have the rights to, that they had no hand in making. It's like, here's the history of Western music. We're going to rent it to you monthly. It's just like, man, that's insane.
Shit. Okay.
Is this available on Spotify?
No, actually it's not. Thank you for bringing. No, I'm only on YouTube because I'm trying to build my YouTube channel, and I know well enough as an artist to know that I won't be pulling in too much cheddar off of it. So I want to force everyone to go to the same place and build that.
It makes sense, man.
You can monetize the YouTube. Well, that's funny you said payola. So it used to be you meet Alan Freed in the Brill building with $5,000 in a paper sack. Yeah. But now you pay somebody for radio promo. They created a job for it. So instead of paying the DJ that turns knows everybody, you pay a business person who then promotes your record to the program directors. Mm-hmm. But me as an artist and wanting to make my music break, that's what I finally come to realize is that's what a label has to offer, is a budget to pay that team. Or people think, you just get written about because you got something groovy going on. But no, you have a publicist who reaches out to publications, so you're paying for that too. Yeah, man. And then to have the tour support, like you said, to even be able to afford to have the band on the road, the money to make the merch happen. Yeah, it's a lot of investment. Let's jump back in that West Virginia discussion.
Yeah.
Because as I started talking, there's some artists right now that are very big that you met through the scene in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. So one's John R. Miller, and y'all had Prison Book Club.
Yeah.
And Tyler Childers falls into that scene as well. How did that occur?
Yeah, so he's from, like, Eastern Kentucky, and Ian Thornton, who's like a guy in Huntington who, like, he booked at this bar, and then early on in Tyler's thing, like, Ian kind of, like, took him under his wing and, like, wanted to help him as much as possible. And Ian was booking our bands at this place called Shamrocks, and then we also played a place called the V Club, both in Huntington. And, like, some of Tyler's earliest shows outside of Kentucky, I believe, were in that situation with, like, at the V Club and at Shamrocks. And, you know, there's posters of us playing with him with Prison Book Club and the Demon Beat. And, you know, Ian had a festival called Huntington Music and Arts Fest. Tyler, some early performances there. And then later on, a few years later, I played with him for, man, not a super long time, maybe 9 months or something. And it was before he was, like, touring a bunch. But, you know, we played some shows around Kentucky and some stuff in the Eastern Panhandle, and yeah, so, and we made some recordings, and yeah, so it was, we were around each other a fair amount. And I met all those guys in his band. The core of his band, they were in a band from Huntington called Deadbeats and Barkers, and we had like done shows with them. So it was just kind of this cross-pollination of all those things kind of happening at the same time. I think he was a fan of Prison Book Club, I think, at some point. Maybe still is.
I think he is for sure, based on the stuff he's been putting, John on. It seems like he really elevated John after he blew up, which is so admirable.
Yeah, man.
Because y'all played Red Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that experience.
Yeah, he had us open. He was like really, really good about just getting people on those shows that like he really is a fan of, or like, homies with, and just trying to lift up other people around him. And so we opened a show, and Margot Price was the middle, and so it was bizarre for me personally because it's Red Rocks, which is so special, but getting to do it with John, who I have such a history with, and then I know Margot a little bit and know everybody that was in her band at that point, so it was like everybody on the stage.
There was an East Nashville hang going on.
Yeah, and like this West Virginia contingent, a bunch of friends from West Virginia had flown out to see it. So it was just this wild, like, I'm sure you've had moments like this where it's like, man, because there's the thing itself. There's playing at Red Rocks, which is beautiful.
Yep.
I feel very lucky to have been able to do that. But there's this other thing of like all these things that are this confluence of like things in your life from different times in your life culminating at this special thing. And it's like, dude, this is trippy. This is like a beautiful night, and I want to take this in because it's not just the thing, it's the fact that it's these people.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the more I see like, man, so much of your life is just time and people. And when those things, like when those special moments come together, or, think about how many people I work with or know because of the scene I kind of grew up in, it's staggering, man. They're still around. I still see Ian, we got lunch the other day, we're going to do a Roswell Kids show next week. That's
awesome.
It's in my life. We made a record with John that's coming out soon. We did it at Church Studios.
Oh,
in
cool.
Tulsa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Very groovy. Did y'all do the live performance series for them too? Mm-hmm. So is it a live record or?
No, it's not a live record, but we did the last, after actually recording it, we did a day where, we did the show, maybe two sets or something, and just as a 3-piece, just Chloe, his partner and fiddle player and background singer, it was her and John and I just doing songs from the record. And
right on.
I think one of those has come out, Toll Booth maybe.
Okay.
At this point. So yeah, but dude, just like getting to be, once again, it's the thing of like, it's Church Studios, it's Leon Russell, there's all this JJ Cale, just all this stuff that's like really special. Mm-hmm. But you're at that place with somebody you have a history with, that you really love, and you learned how to be musicians together in some respects, and then you're in this place that's like, man, it's crazy. No, dude, that's really special. That the whole Tulsa sound is a big influence on me for sure.
Oh yeah, and then the last episode I did was with Greyhounds, an Austin band, and they cut a live record there with the King Cabbage Brass Band, which is a brass band there in Tulsa. So we talked a good bit about the church, but definitely trying to promote the church and going and taking the tour, and seeing all the memorabilia and incredible stuff they saved over the years.
Yeah, they've done it right, man. And the guy engineering it, Gary Laney was engineering, and Mike Prado was kind of assisting. They were both engineering essentially. But yeah, we were hanging out outside one night. Maybe it was the first or second night, and Gary said something about Don Williams. Yeah. And it was like, it was one of those moments where it was like, oh, there's more. I need to ask more about this. And it was like, Gary worked at Sound Emporium for years and engineered all that shit. He recorded Tulsa Time.
Wow, how about that?
Crazy. And so he was telling Don Williams stories, and it was just like, once again, it's like, man, the stories are like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the business side is whatever, but all this other stuff is just like the people you meet and the stories that are around. And it's like, before we started doing this, we talked a little bit about Colonel Bruce Hampton.
Yeah.
It was like, I never met the guy. I didn't really even, I know his music only peripherally, but my buddy Ted Pecchio played with him for a couple of years.
Yeah, he's in the Code Talkers.
Okay, yeah. And it's like the stories Ted told me about this guy are, I think about them often. There's quotes that he's told me from Bruce that I think about all the time. They've it's like changed my life.
Well, let's share a couple. They'll be holding out on us.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I should. Yeah, it's a little bit. Shouldn't tease it like that. One of them, the one I think about the most often is, unfortunately, life is not about the pursuit of happiness. We're here to learn lessons, and that's a drag. And it's just like, whew. Just sometimes somebody will say something, and you're just like, I need time with that.
Yeah, man. No doubt the wisdom comes from the mistakes.
Yeah, man. And he was just so, like, another one was, music is time, tone, and space. And
also the T's.
Yeah. Time, tone, and threat of vomit.
Nailed
Is that
it.
correct?
Yeah.
Just what an interesting dude. And then another one was, I think it was Jimmy Herring after a show where Jimmy was sitting in when Ted was playing with him. There's one night Bruce just sounded amazing, and then one night maybe a little less so.
Yeah.
Jimmy asked him about it in a kind way, and Bruce said something along the lines of, life's not always good, so why should music be? But just his dedication to like the ideas of like, this should be alive. It should be in the moment, responding in real time, And so this is a guy I never met. I didn't really know his music, but I'm a huge fan of a lot of people that went through his like school of thinking. And Ted's somebody that's changed my life. And I played with him last night with Brian.
Yeah.
And
he's brilliant.
Oh my God, he's amazing. And there've been points in my life here where like we interacted, or I got to meet him or got to play with him, and all of a sudden I was encountering an idea I hadn't encountered before. Or musically it was like, because Ted's incredible. He's one of the hardest working bass players in town, and it's not that he never makes a mistake, but he knows how to play out of a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a Bruce thing.
Absolutely. That's the threat of vomit.
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, be willing to, there's another thing I caught a snippet of a O.T.L. Burbridge interview the other day, and he said that Bruce said about some musician, he's like, I don't hear any of your story in your playing. It was like, if your mother died or you found $1 million on the street, you'd play the same solo. And it was just, once again, it's like, man.
Well, that's also the thought of like finding your voice as an artist is the hardest part. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, maybe it's, man, I don't know if it's a Miles quote or who it was, but it's like, it takes a long time to sound like yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really is like, we were talking, about John and about these people I've met, and these different people that I've had the fortune of playing with and growing with and learning. And it's like, all of that stuff is slowly kind of leading you to like what you care about and what you don't care about.
Yeah.
And just over time, I know the moments that have like shifted for me where it was like, this, I relate to this and I don't relate to this. And it doesn't mean this other thing isn't valid. It just means it's not part of me or what I relate to. And that's everything, man. It's ideas, it's technique, it's like sounds, what gear you use, all that stuff. It's all an expression of like, what do you care about? What matters to you? And communicating that with the other people you're around. And as a side musician, that's the job, is like, can you, if you're on a session or you know, somebody just sends you a song list, you've got to go play this stuff. It's like, what's the emotion and what's this person's voice? And how do you augment that or tee it up so that it speaks? And that's like, I take that very seriously. You're not just playing the songs, because we're playing a style of music where, you know, when you write or when you sing, that's your story, that's your life. And you also have to go pay for it. Yeah. You have to figure out how to make all of it work. So you're doing all the work. And then it's very arrogant to come into it and think that like you shouldn't serve that. You know what I mean? It's an extreme, it's a craft, but it's also a service industry. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you have this opportunity to like be in this musical conversation with somebody who's already started the conversation, they've already established the way their point of view, then it's like, it's part of you it's incumbent on you to like bring yourself to that. You know what I mean? Like, yes. And you're bringing your own story to it. And in certain situations, your story is irrelevant. Yeah. And in other situations, it is the most essential thing there is. So it's like, you got to be able to read the context and be able to say like, okay, who I am can speak in this. Or like, maybe part of who I am is just me being able to just meet the emotional dynamic. And they don't need who I am, they just need me to like fit the music. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know, maybe that's like a little heady or... No,
it's not. That's why you're one of the hardest working guitar players in town. I think what it starts to do is coming down to just caring. And then also giving the space for the song to exist. Yeah. And not just playing all over the thing, you know?
Yeah. Once again,
that taste.
Like, it's so arrogant to like think that like that it's about you. You know what I mean? It's not like you're part of it. It's not like you should be nothing or shrink to where you're not even there, but it's a conversation. And so, you know, if we were like right now in this moment, if I didn't listen to what you're saying or the train of thought, or if you didn't listen to what I'm saying or my train of thought, it's a nightmare.
Yep.
I hate it so much when there's not like, when you close the door somehow to like communication that could be there. And, you know, so musically it's like leaving space is like beautiful. It can make something, because then when you fill it, you better have a reason to, you know what I mean? Like leaving space can create emotional dynamic, and filling it and like overwhelming something can be an emotional dynamic. You know what I mean?
Oh, buddy. Well, that's the other Miles quote. The notes you don't play are more important than the notes you do. Yeah. That's like...
Yeah, it's negative space. It's like those things have to work together, and you have to understand like, you know, it's a heavy thing. It's a beautiful thing. And if you treat it with the respect it deserves, you know, then you can make great shit, you know, or you can be a part of somebody else making great shit. And it's like, man, if that's on the table, man, I want to do that.
Well, you're doing it, buddy, because there's no doubt you're one of the hardest working guitar players, you know, in the scene here. And then that's elevated you to all these huge stages. Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, I think like, once again, it's like for what I do, or the style, not even style, but like the way I look at what I do or the music I'm interested in, my heroes are the guys that were like Mike Campbell is my guy. Yeah. You know, and I've probably learned more from his time, tone, and space than almost anybody else. And a huge part of it is like, there's nobody better at riding shotgun than that guy. And man, when it's time to deliver, he delivers. And when it's time to just chuck rhythm, or he's
so melodic. His parts, you sing back the guitar parts as much as you do the lyric.
Yeah, and all you have to do is hear the tone too. All those things are the same to him, I think. I mean, I don't want to speak for this guy, but a takeaway for me is like the tone of it and the melody and the song are all the same thing. If you hear like Won't Back Down is so simple and straightforward, and those slide parts are just like, it's so cool and rock and roll, and it fits the vibe. It feels like a guy who wouldn't back down.
Yeah,
it really does. It like, or Refugee, like, which is something he wrote. It's like that lick in the beginning is like as iconic and gives you the emotion. It's tees you up for that chorus.
No doubt.
Where you're just like, man, these guys fucking mean this. You know what I mean? And they, all you gotta do is watch that documentary and hear how they talk about each other.
Yeah, Running Down a Dream.
Yeah.
Also, Church, they signed a Shelter that with Leon. That was their and Denny Cordell.
Yeah, man. And they did, I think, man, I'm spacing on. They did a track for that first record in the Church proper, and I can't remember where they did the other stuff for that. But yeah, I mean, that was, that changed their shit. That like, that's where that story started, and so it was trippy to be there and know that was part of it.
Yeah, man. If that's your compass right there, come on.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so when you said that, it made me think of something that a friend of mine told me. But if you had to name your favorite Canadian pedal steel player, who do you reckon that would be?
Whoa. Oh man, I feel bad. I'm gonna fail this test. I can't think of one. Was it Ben Keith?
No.
Okay.
Asa.
Oh, Asa Brocious.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Asa.
He told me I should ask you who your favorite Canadian pedal steel player was. But he also told me that you told him one time you were just a Mike Campbell looking for his Tom Petty.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. And like, with certainly playing with Jesse now, it's like, we talking about somebody that has a point of view.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Did you find your Tom Petty?
Man, I mean, I'm not going to claim to be Mike Campbell, and I would not put that on him. He's Tom Petty. But the way he writes and the way he thinks about music, and like just in his playing alone, you can hear the depth of this dude. Yeah.
There's, protest songs with great he's like kind of like a modern day John Prine, but the emphasis on lyrics that are compelling to change the times and the things that need to change. A true protest song that's a great song. That's no joke. So in that a Bob Dylan type situation there, if you think about it.
Yeah, man. And also like his stuff that isn't like maybe necessarily as topical, it's like, in the way that like John Fogerty was a protest singer in ways, but he's
Fortunate
also
Son.
Dude, I mean, I can't, so it's a different thing than just like purely topical stuff. It's more like giving voice to like, once again, I don't know if this is getting too heady, but it's like the way I view what Jesse does or how he writes, he's trying to give an honest voice to what he sees or feels. He's not necessarily weighing in on like, this is what's wrong and I'm going to do this. It's not necessarily didactic.
Yeah.
It's more so like, and one of the things I think like allows people to find themselves in it is that it's like, I see this and it doesn't make sense, or like it makes me, I'm infuriated, or like, you're giving a name to a feeling that people have that isn't necessarily represented that well. And so he's doing that with like specific topics or events, but in his stuff that isn't topical, man, I can relate to it as a guy from West Virginia. There's a guy from a largely forgotten place.
Yeah.
That is being left behind by modernity, in a lot of ways. And like, there's a feeling that exists there, and there's a feeling in me that is coming from there and living in a new place now that does have some opportunity. I feel it. I can bring myself to it. I can hear in some of his songs where it's like, man, I would not have put it that way. I would have not thought to put it that way, but like, man, that says it.
Yeah, yeah, he's got so much to say.
Yeah, and so it's a point of view that's already like pretty ironclad, And so it's like, as a guitarist, it's like, I'm going to bring myself and my own story to this point of view that's already there, that I relate to. And it doesn't matter, like, I think, he's probably a less political guy than some people would think. We're not just like in the green room talking about, you know what I mean? It's like, it almost never comes up. What we're talking about or thinking about is like day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Of like, man, trying to understand what's happening in the world around you. And yeah, politics is part of that, but also just like trying to be alive in 2026, man. Trying to be a musician in 2026. Like,
Blue Dot
lucky.
Fever.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we're lucky in the sense that at the moment, there's some people interested in it. There's people coming out, but dude, that could go away at any point.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of that. He's very aware of that. I shouldn't necessarily speak for him, but it's like, he was in a band that had some stuff going, and then they had some experiences that are pretty cliche in the music industry. You know what I mean?
He made a record with Dave Cobb at one point, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Is that with the other band, or was that as a solo artist?
Man, I'm not sure. I feel like maybe that was with his band. I don't know that, like, I'm mostly just aware, like, generally, like, I mean, they were on the road with, like, Greta Van Fleet when they went from, like, being a sprinter to, like, a bus or two,
Wow.
Like that. So like, some of the ins and outs of it, I don't necessarily really know, but I know that like there were opportunities, that either didn't come to fruition or didn't go, which, I mean, God, how many people is that happening to in this city right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Or that we were not aware of. And then you just see somebody blow up and you think, oh, they blew up out of nowhere. And it's like, no. They put in a lot of hours, followed roads that were dead ends. And
drove to Jackson, Mississippi with no.
Oh, for $500.
Dude, yeah. And honestly, if you right now were like, hey, do you want to go to Jackson, Mississippi for $500? I'd be like, yeah, I do.
I'd go there with you right now, buddy.
Yeah. Do we know anybody?
Yeah, I do. I know a couple folks. That ain't too far from Alabama. Wait, you know what I think when you're talking about Jesse and his songwriting is also there's this Randy Newman element is what you're getting at, because it's telling a story like the Good Old Boys album. I love Randy Newman, but the Good Old Boys album presents the Southern state of mind, but doesn't necessarily say that this is wrong, that's painfully obvious that it's wrong in the lyrics. So like what you're talking about is telling a story, but letting the listener draw their own conclusions. But when you state it, sometimes when you state something just as a fact, you see how egregious it actually is. Yeah.
Oh, dude, 100%. Yeah. No, that's a really, and when I think about it, like I think about it in terms of like, I understand why the Dylan comparisons are there, and certainly like, there's plenty of, parallels you can draw. But man, I think of John Fogerty and Randy Newman, because Randy Newman he's not a one note guy. He's not, like that record's incredible. Yeah, Louisiana, 1927.
Yeah, man.
That song will, if I'm not like on guard, I'll cry every time.
It's so moving.
Yeah, it's so moving, and it's also, there's so much humor in it. Mm-hmm. That second verse is like a little fat man with a notepad in his hand. He's talking about Coolidge visiting. It's just like, once
Little
again,
fat man with a notepad in his hand.
it just sounds so good. It's like, man, if I'm ever gonna get bad news, I wish that it was Randy Newman singing it to me.
Yeah, and he said, "Ain't it a shame what the river has done to this poor cracker's lane?"
Yeah, it's like, man, dude, if you even just saying that now, if somebody was on the news and said that, people would be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
It's like, but that's the power of it not being didactic and not being like, it's wrong what happened to this place. It's like, like you live or die by that sword if you choose to make your art about telling other people what their lives should be. But if you take a higher road and more challenging road of like, this is what I see around me, and there's pain and there's joy and there's like brutality and there's hope, and like, if you, that's a higher road, I think. But people can bring themselves to that. You can bring yourself to an expression of joy or violence or, being frustrated. You can bring yourself to that. It's harder to bring yourself to somebody being like, this is what I think. And if you don't think what I think, then like, fuck off. It's like,
What's polarizing? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring myself to that.
Yeah.
That doesn't speak to me,
So you're talking about how like everybody jumps to a Bob Dylan comparison when in reality that's not really necessarily who he is, although we all, have different shades. But he was, though, and I believe you were there for this. I know you played Newport Folk Festival, and obviously Bob Dylan went electric and it was crazy, but Jesse Wells broke his guitar on stage, right?
He did. He didn't break it, is like, sounds less intentional. He shattered it.
Yeah. He Pete Townsend his guitar.
He did.
Yeah,
amazing.
Or Nirvana. Yeah, Cobain was known to do as such.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so was that something that y'all talked about? Were you on stage when that happened? Yeah.
No, that was
Super Jam.
That was a Super Jam thing. I think maybe the next day or something. Yeah. And I don't want, maybe not totally my story to tell, but I think it was just that guitar is like really dark. It's his Epiphone Casino, which I love and he loves too, but it was just like, I think it was a bit dark and he was tired of struggling against it. So I was like, all right, well.
Okay, so it was off the cuff.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
the decision was maybe made like not long before.
Right on. Well, but obviously, that's his story to tell. I like that.
But if the lovely people at Epiphone would like to try again, send him one.
They're easily found in this town.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Very true.
Okay, so we're talking about you as a sideman and all these different projects you've worked with. We have a connection because my wife, Dana B., who y'all played with Josh Hedley together, dude.
That's true.
At Bridgestone Arena.
That's true.
Yeah, opening up for Jack White. That was like a pretty amazing experience. So the Josh Hedley connection is also the Asa connection because she now plays in a band with Asa, with Easton Corbin, this country artist.
Yeah.
That's how I came to know Asa.
Yeah, I got to know, I love Asa. He's one of my favorite people. I got to know him from playing with J.P. Harris. We stayed really close, and he's a beautiful guy. He's a very, very deep guy, very funny, obviously incredible player.
Yeah.
He's equally at home, doing what they're doing, and we're playing with Rose Cousins, and like if you want somebody to play like kind of swing, kind of maybe not Speedy West kind of stuff, he can do that shit, man. He's underrated, man. More people should know about him, for sure.
Yeah, he's brilliant, tasty, and a deep cat, no doubt. Very sincere fella.
Yes, yeah, and he's definitely another kind of figure in my life that like getting to know him and definitely was like big for me. The way that Ted was. There's so many people, man. It's maybe not smart to start naming because I'll forget people, but he made an impact on my life. You know?
Right on, man.
Yeah.
I love that. So with playing with Hedley, talk about artists that people also need to know about, and such an authentic artist. When did you start playing with Hedley? When were you playing with him?
Man, I'm trying to remember the year. I think it was 2017 or 18.
Okay.
And it was most of that, whatever year it was most of that year, and it was his solo stuff. So I haven't done any of the, like, you know, he's got regular gigs in town, like down at Roberts,
totally,
and D's and Skinny Dennis, and I've not played with him on any of those, but his bands for all those are like smoking.
Yes.
His Roberts band, unreal.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, man, go see it. You know,
yes, go check out Josh Hedley at Roberts.
But
just go to Roberts in general.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But man, it was his solo stuff. He made a record with Jordan Lenning, and yeah, man, it's a great record. And and then I played with him some when the record after that, which I think he also did with Jordan. That was a little almost like kind of 90s-ish, had some 90s country.
Okay, whereas the other one was
stuff.
like Nashville sound, like strings. That was the way that was what Dana's context on the gig, because y'all had a string section.
Yeah, and that was more kind of like Chet Atkins kind of production, or like man, I'm spacing on the guy's name. There's a guy that produced like Stand By Your Man and
Owen
like
Bradley. The architect,
right.
I would say, of the Nashville sound for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man, just it's great stuff, man. And dude, he's one of those guys where, like, when you play with like a real singer, somebody that can deliver, and especially in country music, it's such a simple form that it's like so much of it is about the voice, and about your writing. And so when you've got somebody that can really deliver a ballad,
dude, he can sing, can he? Oh my goodness,
it's heavy, man. I remember because I had just come from playing some like honky tonk gigs for, like, you know, not much money, 4-hour gigs, like you are earning every cent of that. And then playing with him, you know, Jeremy Fetzer had played on the record, and there's all this beautiful tremolo, clean, just beautiful electric guitar. And so it was like, I remember we were playing a gig, I think maybe Shoals Fest or something. Okay. And just we're playing this ballad and just strumming a chord with a Strymon Flint, you know, just and just like hearing his voice come back in the wedge. I was like, this is an easy job. He's doing all, you know, he just sounds amazing. And so
he's got a great range too.
Yeah.
Like just so powerful from all those hours of singing. You can just feel the power behind that voice.
And he also, like, he is kind of immovable in the sense of like, he's not like, he's got so much mileage on stage that, like, there's not going to be anything that happens in that room that he hasn't seen a worse version of or more intense version of. Yeah. So it's like, there's a confidence that you can have when the person you're playing behind has that confidence of just like, you know,
you're bulletproof.
Yeah. He came up playing honky tonks in Florida when he was a teenager.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, he, you know, you're not going to surprise him. You know, great guy. I saw him last night, actually.
I love that.
Beautiful. Yeah.
At D's. You were at D's?
Yeah, he was just hanging. Yeah. It was cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea of being in this scene in West Virginia, and you're in Roswell, kid, and you're touring, and then you make the decision to come to Nashville. And I read, or it was like in a PBS interview, I read the transcription of it where you said you're talking about you come to Nashville and you're not even the best guitar player on the block, you know?
Yeah. So, still true.
Well,
true as it ever was.
I mean, shit. Well, it's all relative, but what it really comes down to is who's working. And because you are one of the busiest guitar players I know in town, you have a very unique perspective of, you know, touring with huge artists, playing huge clubs. But I see you on Broadway on Mondays, buddy.
You're
clocking in the time on on those stages too, where a lot of people put in some of their 10,000 hours down there is maybe what you're doing, but you're at a point, obviously we're always growing, but you're a working musician, so you're working jobs, and what did that look like for you when you first came to town and to where you are now, as a guitar player? Did you initially start playing on Broadway?
No, I've really only ever had 2 regular Broadway gigs, and they're both a little off the beaten path of what you would maybe normally think of as a Broadway gig. One of them was at Layla's with Heath Haynes. Heath isn't in Nashville anymore, but when I moved to town, he had a residency at the 5 Spot every Sunday night, and that was a cool place to hang out. Just like cool musicians go see Heath Haynes on Sunday night.
Yeah, I feel like I recognize that name.
Yeah, dude, he's another guy that's like certainly made an impact on my life, but like he had a cool ass song list. You would start playing like George Jones and 6 Days on the Road and just some of the classics like 50s and 60s country and Hank Williams and stuff, and then it would slowly get into like Graham Parsons, Stones. Like we played Dead Flowers. Basically Dead Flowers was like now rock and roll, but he would play everything, man. Roy Orbison, The Wanderer, he would just do all it would kind of jump around. So when we play Layla's, it wasn't your typical Broadway gig, we would play Powderfinger for 10 minutes at whatever it was, 1:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
And then now I play with Zachariah Malachi down at Chiefs. And that's, he's certainly kind of really classic country, and he can sing that shit, man. He's got it down. It's a great band. And so, but I've never been like a...
I agree. He sounds great. Sorry to say.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You just like stone cold, like, mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I love hearing that. Yeah.
And yeah, once again, you're playing behind somebody that like, it sounds like those records, man, and so, but I know guys that do like, that's their living.
No, totally.
Full time.
Yeah.
And my regular gigs right now are like, I play Chiefs on Mondays. I play Skulls on Thursdays and Fridays.
Let's talk about Skulls.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that I wanted to make sure we talk about. Because I give tours of town and I've studied a lot of the history and I love the stories. So I just had a couple questions. Like, are there trap doors on the stage at Skulls?
If there are, they have not let me know.
Okay.
But I would believe it because it's like, that place is like going back in time. It feels like you're part of like a Vegas show in the early 70s where it's like, and it's kind of on the nose. It's like the bartender's name is Bruno. the host is like, the stage name is Delilah. You know what I mean? It's like the band leader when I was there was Johnny. It just felt like you're in an alley.
Yeah.
And you're standing in an alley and then like, the women come down with their costumes and like just dressed to the nines, and
it's a burlesque show. We should say that.
Right, it's a burlesque show, and so it's show business, man. It's old school kind of show business vibe. So if I don't have any other gigs during the week, it's like honky tonk on Monday night, Thursday night, kind of classic burlesque, and then Fridays is like an 80s, 90s night. So you're playing, on the slowest week I would have, I'm playing 7 hours on stage of pretty different stuff.
Indeed.
So keeps my hands and my brain in good shape.
Hell yeah.
So, and man, another thing is like gigs come and go, and man, you got to have as many people that want to call you as possible. Because things can, in our very recent lives, we watched it all go away.
Yep.
And so you are thankful when the faucet's running and you gotta prepare for when it's not, So I don't look down on any kind of, it's like, man, you gotta be playing as much as possible. I'm trying to get better.
Yeah.
Trying to get better at like how I think about music. my own pocket, my own like right hand, how hard I'm hitting.
Yeah.
If I'm playing in tune, like, and then on top of that, that's playing checkers, but the chess is like, how does your pocket fit in with other people's? What do you do when the vibe is not great?
Ooh.
What do you do on a session when somebody's attitude is shitty and is making your job harder? How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
How do you, like, when you're not in a great headspace, how do you play through it or work through it, you know, or check in with yourself? What do you need in the moment? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's all that stuff is like, you can learn all the time, you know. And gear stuff, it's like, I'm always buying and selling and just trying. Part of it is that it is kind of an addiction, but it's also, when I hear back a record, I want it to, you know, or when you're in the room, when you're making something, you want as little distance between you and the song idea and it sounding like a record. It needs to be immediate.
Yeah.
And if you're in with people that want to work quick, you can't be like, oh man, yeah, I have that back at the house, I'll go get it. It's like, nah, dude, it's gotta be in the room, and you gotta be inspired in the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to lose an idea because your delay pedal doesn't work. You know what I mean? You gotta, you know, anyways, yeah.
These are all great points. So then with that kind of idea of the studio setting, do you prefer to have a demo ahead of time and try to work on a part, or do you prefer to be spontaneous in the moment? Do you feel like you can waste your good ideas in the practice room?
I mean, typically in the moment's the best.
It's the best, right?
Yeah. If there's stuff that sometimes it's like it needs to be a lick or something, or it needs to be like, if there's a weird timing thing, or like you need to write a harmony part or something, sometimes knowing that ahead of time is good. But man, in the moment, you're getting a real-time read of like, what's this person thinking about? You know, they might tell you what the song is about, or they might tell you like, I kind of want this to sound desolate, or like we're kind of going for like a, you know, mid-period Roy Orbison. So it's like, if you don't know that, if you just got a demo the night before and you're like, I know what I'm going to do on this, but they come at you with like, it's in a different key, I'm singing an octave lower, I want it to be like Roy Orbison. But in your head, if you're fighting against what you thought last night, you could just save time by just trusting yourself in the moment to be like, we're going to make something together.
Yeah, because at that point you got in your own way.
Yeah, it's inefficient, because it's like, now one of the hardest things you can do is have a song that you've had for a long time and go try and track it. Because you're fighting against years of playing it with different people, maybe recording it before, your ideas of what it could be. Sometimes that can...
You're in a box.
Yeah,
man. And
so, man, so much of it's mental and emotional. Yeah. And you know, I don't have to tell you that, you know, it's...
Oh, I love that. Well, so also that producing hat, because you're a producer also, so I saw you had some producer credits with John R. Miller. Where did y'all cut those records?
We've done 2 together, and it's most of the time I'm like co-producing.
Yeah.
And so the most recent one, John and I co-produced.
Okay.
That was at the church.
Oh, that's at
Studios. And then we did one right before the pandemic called Depreciated, and that was at Sound Emporium.
Okay.
And Justin Francis co-produced that.
Oh, okay.
And Justin and I've worked on a lot of stuff together. He did like the Roswell Kid records, the 2 that people kind of know, if they know it at all.
You have a big fan base, so people know.
Yeah. We did those at Ronnie's Place and Soundstage over on like Music Row, basically. But yeah, man, look, I love co-producing, like, because it's more of a team thing, you know. There's things I do well and things I don't do well, and like, you know, with John, it's like he knows what he needs, and it's more my job to make sure I don't get in the way and nobody else, like, let's support this guy. And the band we had in Tulsa was like fucking killer. They were so good, man. It was, yeah. So, you know.
Who are some of those musicians you remember?
Man, Patty Ryan was on drums. Muskrat Jones was playing steel. John Fulbright.
Oh, I know John.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
Dude.
Piano, harmonica.
Yeah, he played
guitar.
some accordion.
Oh, okay.
Man, he's just, and then, man, I'm going to space on his last name. Aaron, I think it's Trailer, I want to say. But those guys all play together a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, so is it kind of Fulbright's band or like?
I think they've probably played together with Fulbright. Like, I think Patty's kind of the one that like called everybody. But I think those are all his first calls.
Got
I
it.
think. But yeah, Gary Pachoza works at Rounder, or like, not works. I mean, he's a pretty big up at Rounder, but it was through Rounder, and I think he was like, if you want to do it in Tulsa, I know the guy to call, and then he's gonna call these other guys. You know.
Wow.
So yeah, that's.
Now I want to make a record with those cats.
Dude, get over there, man.
I'm gonna do it.
It's a beautiful studio. Those dudes were. Man, it was killer.
John Fulbright. So when I used to work the door at a club called Momo's in Austin. We were talking about Austin earlier. And the first time I saw Fulbright was probably I played on a bill with him actually at Momo's. But I saw him, this was 2008 probably, and he was in like a rider in the rounds. And my buddy I was in a band with, we were like really big Townes Van Zandt fans. And so somebody told a story about Townes Van Zandt. And so then honestly, now we were young. He's even younger than me. So my buddy was probably like 18 or 19, Drew DeFrance. Got a great band. But so anyway, so he puts a note on the stage and says, play a Townes Van Zandt song. And the guy that was already talking about Townes Van Zandt was like, oh, well, you know, there's a rider in the rounds. We're supposed to be playing our own song, so I'm not going to play a town song. And then it went to John Fulbright, and he goes, I'll play a town song. And we were like blown up. We loved that. And then he had this album called Live at the Blue Door, and it was just him solo playing rack harmonica. And it like, we rode around in this Ford Explorer and listened to that so much. We were like, this guy is brilliant. And then just came across him along the way. But yeah, he's so talented.
Yeah, man, he was inspiring. They were all inspiring. They all had, because they, you know, John Miller wanted it to be kind of outside of the Nashville thing, just because it's like, you know, his stylistically, like somebody like J.J. Cale is a huge influence. So it was like, man, let's go do it over there, you know? And those guys, the history they have together, and they have a shorthand in the studio. Once again, it's like the fewest steps between here's my song, and then it's like you're in the control room like,
buddy. And I think that's something people miss when they talk about famous studios and towns. They're leaving out sometimes the musicians. So it's like, obviously there's something in the water in Muscle Shoals that led to this ability, but people are playing with the Swampers. That's the Muscle Shoals sound, or then the Fame Gang, and you know, or the A-Team here, or these Tulsa cats you're talking about. It's like, that's why you go to the town in the studio. It blows my mind when people say, well, I'm gonna go get the sound of the town, but they bring all their own people.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. And some of those places, like, it's, you know, none of the gear's there. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I get it. I understand why, like, you know, because if you're not that experienced making records, it's easy to be like, well, we want to do something that's great. Let's go somewhere great to do it. But meanwhile, it's like, well, Steve Cropper is not alive anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
man, R.I.P. We just lost him too.
Yeah, man. And like Stax, that's not the original Stax. You know, I'm not decrying it. I'm just saying, like, you know, the magic of that was like the time period, the gear they had, and who they were as people. Like Booker T and the MGs, the depth of that group of 4 people, unreal.
Yeah.
And like, man, the fabric of what they made, it's, you know, and the museum, you should go to the museum.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. And even though it isn't the actual, I mean, they've made it pretty legit. And
on Macklemore Avenue. It's like an old movie theater, and then the Satellite record shop was out front, which is crazy too, because that's where Stax comes. Estelle Axton and Jim Stewart, brother and sister. So you put Stax, so it's Stax.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then they were literally making these records there and then selling them out of a shop in the front. I mean, how brilliant is that? But yeah, they got the original instruments set up as they would have been in the studio, and then watch a little bit of a documentary, the Respect Yourself documentary. It's also a book that's like so, and then they got Isaac Hayes' Cadillac in there that was part of his negotiation for his record deals. They had to give him a gold Cadillac with all this real gold on it. Insane.
Unreal, man. Yeah, so a great story about that place. So I don't think he lives in Nashville anymore, but this amp guy, Kai Kennedy, excuse me, I took a super reverb to him. It was the first real amp I bought in town, and it was a dud, man. It had been part of the flood, and I didn't realize it. So the baffle, the only thing that like stayed, he basically had to rebuild the amp. The chassis is the only thing that lasted. The baffle was messed up. The speakers were messed up. Just everything that could be wrong with it.
The things that you wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he was very kind to me, and he did an immense amount of work to it. But anyways, he used to play with Duck Dunn. He's a Memphis dude.
Okay.
So he told me some like amazing stories. One of the ones was that those, I think maybe they did it at the museum too. I'm not totally sure, but eventually they had to bolt those instruments to the ground. The amps, like Steve Cropper's Super Reverb, the stuff got stolen so much.
Wow.
Because, Macklemore Avenue was like a pretty rough place. There's a lot of theft and shit. And so, they started with like, we'll put a padlock on the door. And then it's like, people break in, and then they just got chains around the front door with locks on it. And a dude backed his truck through the door, and they would go grab the instruments. So finally they had the maintenance guy come in, and they drilled a hole in the bottom of Steve Cropper's Super Reverb and bolted it through the floor. They bolted down Al Jackson's cymbal stands, Duck Dunn's like probably flip top, Ampeg or whatever, and they kept the instruments separate. Booker T's, Leslie, all that shit. And so the guys would still break in, but then they go in, they couldn't like get the stuff, so they just had to leave.
Dude, without essentially affect the sound as well because of the vibrations. So it's interesting that you could attribute in some way or fashion.
If you want the Steve Cropper sounds,
bolt your amp.
Go bolt your amp, put it on a slanted old movie theater.
What a trip. That's really great. Oh, we just got a couple minutes. You got any other cool stories that Cat told you?
I think he's the one that told me this. So if you listen to Green Onions, which is probably maybe the biggest, certainly the biggest instrumental to come out of there, that they mixed that stuff live. So when you hear Steve Cropper's, like, it's not really a solo, but when he starts doing fills, when it's his verse, the first two, I think, are super loud. They have him up. They like overcompensated. Yeah. And then the third one, they come way down. And the fourth one, they come back up. So it's like high, low, middle. Yeah. And so one of the reasons that I hate giving mix notes, go back to the co-production thing, I let somebody else do that because you can get kind of OCD about it. And when I think of something like that, where it's like, while we've been talking, that how much money has that song made? Oof. And nobody thinks about like, oh, the guitar's too loud in that verse. Nobody gives a shit because it sounds amazing. It feels amazing. So that other shit, it's like, I'm not gonna say don't care about your mix, but like, try and write something as good as Green Onions.
Whoa, man! Well, the song is the star, dude. In essence, so and everybody hears it different. Well, that's pretty groovy. I'm definitely gonna listen to that. Yeah,
it's trippy, man, and it's like how many?
It's super tasty. I can hear the and it's the guitar parts when it comes in.
It's so like, how many thousands of times have you heard that song?
Yeah, you know and I thought that. Yeah,
and it wasn't until somebody had to tell me, And I was like, oh yeah.
And then you can't not hear it once you've been told.
Exactly.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it's so amazing, man.
Pardon the interruption. I hope you're digging the episode. Just want to take a quick minute and tell you about Nashville Custom Hats. Like I said, they provide fully customized hats with unlimited options, but what does that mean for you as a client? Let's say you got a business or a brand, or you're a musician like me and you need some merch. Whoa, check it out, y'all. That's a corduroy hat, which is quite apropos. We got some additions, though. We got a rope on the front. Here's my logo. Hopefully you're familiar with it. It's embroidered on here. Beautiful, tight embroidery. And then look at this. The snaps match the color of the logo on the front. Pretty hip. Also, speaking of pretty hip, I got my logo right there on the tag as well. So the sky is the limit. You can do as many additions as you want to your custom hat, but the price never changes. The minimum order is only $50, but you can go all the way up to $20,000. That's right, $20,000. Obviously, the price is going to come down as the quantity goes up, but the price will never go up. You can check out NashvilleCustomHats.com for more info. Also, I wanted to let you know, due to the success of the NCH store at 501 Union Street, there's now a second store on Printers Alley in downtown Nashville, and I'm there, y'all, every Sunday from noon to 7. I'm doing a meet and greet, and I'm selling all kinds of merch. We got King Corduroy patches, we got King Corduroy pins, we got harmonica pins with my logo on them, posters, t-shirts, and then, of course, all kinds of Nashville merchandise. And it's the only shop on Printers Alley that has Printers Alley merch, and there's a whole lot of history on Printers Alley that I could tell you about if you come see me at the shop. So I hope to see you there, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. And check out NashvilleCustomHats.com for more info. All right, we're back.
What a cool thing. Dang.
Speaking of cool things, let's talk about your gold top Les Paul, baby.
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, man. It's a 71. Previously, I think Tom Bukovac owned it for a brief time. Which isn't saying much. He's had thousands of guitars, but
far out. That's cool though, man.
Yeah.
That's some juju to have on it for sure.
Yeah, and there's songwriter Gordy Sampson that I bought it off of, and so yeah, man, it's got like a nice checking. So yeah, dude, I've always
71, you say?
Yeah, I've always been a gold top fan, so I can't afford one of the like real deal 50s. You know, those have just gotten. It's like how much money I make in a year. You know,
insane. Is 58 the most sought after? Is that
well, those are like in terms of gold tops.
Yeah,
57's probably the year for the humbucker ones, and then the P90 ones like 55, 56.
Okay.
But for Les Pauls in general, the burst is like 58, 59.
Okay.
And those are the ones that are like cost what a house costs. It's crazy.
Depending on who played it, it could be worth $1 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the one Jason bought was like Jason Isbell was Ed King's.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, yeah, crazy, you know. But yeah, man. So this, needless to say, this did not cost that much.
But it still sounds like $1 million.
It sounds. Just imagine if we had like a heavy hitter playing it.
Ha!
It's a good
Stop
one, though,
that.
It's a good
no
one,
self-deprecation. What are the pickups you got on there?
These are mini humbuckers, the original to this guitar, and I really love Thin Lizzy, and they're the guitars in their primary in the Golden Age lineup. Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson, they're playing 1973 Les Paul Deluxes. So
Okay.
Sunburst Deluxes with this pickup in it. So this is as close as I'm gonna get to Thin Lizzy guitar. But yeah, man. I mean, these are great guitars. The Bigsby is not original to it, but
Yeah, of course.
But I love it. Yeah, it's very, very cool piece.
So maybe a cool thing would be to illustrate some techniques you can use with the Bigsby there.
Yeah, man. And I will say that I've got many varieties of guitars, but I prefer two pickup Gibsons because of the blend you can get between the pickups. So I'll maybe just show that tonal and mess around with the Bigsby a little bit. But so yeah, you got a volume for each pickup and a tone for each pickup. So if you want a darker thing, you've got and if you just go just to the neck with the tone knob down, you've got this. And, you know, with that, you know, famous like gold top players, Neil Young, and he was also kind of famously not super nuanced with the Bigsby, I guess you could say. So, you know, so you can get intense, but my favorite thing...
I saw a cool interview with him where he was basically saying he wanted to create his vibrato is what he was going for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like you think about how he sings, you know, it's not that different. It's the intensity. It's very so visceral. And then you've got somebody like, you know, collaborator of his,
Daniel Lanois. Yeah, Daniel Lanois.
But if you get a little more verb, a little more like modulation, he has a very like, you know, no picks, just like a, you know, there's that soundtrack, the Dead Man soundtrack, the Jim Jarmusch movie. That's, I believe Lanois recorded that, but that's Neil Young playing the guitar.
Far out, man. So, yeah, that's a soundscape when you do that.
Yeah, and so you get this like amazing texture of, it almost gets like you just get a texture that's otherworldly, and all of a sudden it doesn't register maybe as a guitar. It registers more as like a vibraphone or something. You think of those old like cartoon sounds, like the and then you get the Bigsby, just the slightest Bigsby motion.
Ooh.
I mean, it's beautiful.
It's powerful.
You know? Yeah. So, you know, that, I mean, obviously, effects-wise, that's a little extreme. But
the delay helps a lot with that tone right there.
Yeah, but, you know.
You want to talk about that, your pedals?
Oh, yeah, I've just got a few here. I got an Analog Man Sunbender, which is like a tone bender, which I'm a huge fuzz fan.
Okay.
And so that one's real, interacts with your volume knobs really well, which I can demonstrate in a second. And then Strymon Deco, which kind of slap back. It has a little saturation on it. It's supposed to be like a tape deck, essentially. And then the Strymon Flint has tremolo and reverb on it.
Oh yeah, you got some tremolo rocking right now.
Yeah. So all that's on, and now I'll turn the tone bender on and demonstrate a little bit.
That thing's a trip.
It's a trip, man. So it's pretty
grungy.
Yeah, the amp is like low volume, so it's going to be a little less like dynamic. But if
you need to crank the amp a little more?
No. This is good. It'll still demonstrate it, but full on, this is what you get. But then if you kind of turn your volume knob down,
yeah, baby,
then you get, it's got all this range, and you can play super soft, and you don't get all that. All of a sudden you're in a different zone, and you haven't touched the pedal, you know. And then volume knob up. Ooh.
It goes from like lo-fi to fuzz fast.
Dude, yeah, and if you turn the fuzz knob up all the way, you even get more of that.
So crunchy.
I don't know how crazy this is gonna get, but
get crazy, baby.
Yeah. So it's got like as much range as you want to explore, you know, and like I said, if you got like a Princeton or something with some volume on it, this will get so clean that you can't tell there's a fuzz on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you almost got your entire range from like 50s clean Chet Atkins all the way to just Degradation, Sonic Youth, you know, Jay Mascis kind of stuff. So, and yeah, just between like the controls on your guitar and where you hit and how hard you hit, if you got a pick, if you're playing slide, you know, there's just all this range.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the pedals help, but like just all that stuff together, you know, man, you've got this whole emotional like tapestry, you know, all these colors you can paint with. And so, you know, that's not a very big rig, but you know.
Yeah, I'm going to take a picture of it people can see it. I'll flash it up there. That's what you normally take to a session right there?
I just put this together because I'm doing a gig tonight that it needs to be throw and go because I have to, it's at the Legion. And we play from like 9 to 10:20, and then I got to get over to Skulls by like, it's supposed to be there at 10:30, so it's like
pushing the
I'll
envelope.
Get close to 10:30, but I got to be able to just like grab this and like get out of there.
Yeah.
You know? So this is more of a tactical board, and then I got a bigger board for most sessions and stuff, and it has this stuff on it, but and a couple other fun things. So I've got too much stuff. It's bad.
Ooh, dude, you sounded so good, man. It was just so tasty.
Thank you, man. That means a lot, man. I appreciate it. This is, you know, I've got so many friends and like mentors that are guitar players and just great musicians, and so we're always talking and thinking about this stuff, and it's so fun to just like pass around a guitar with friends, and then you can watch like how hard does he hit with his right hand?
Yeah.
Or like.
Also, when it's your instrument, right? It's nothing like hearing a great player play your instrument.
Dude, it tells you a lot about that person, about yourself, about the actual instrument itself. Because, like, it's almost like the studio thing we're talking about. Like, you know, if you could go to Stax today, you're not going to sound like Otis Redding because you're not Otis Redding. And you don't have those musicians. It's not the same gear. But the place itself has inherent sonic qualities. So this instrument has inherent things about it that sound a certain way. But man, you know, if you had a metal guy play this, you can get some, like the dude from, it's not metal, but Sun O, that band that's just like this, you know, heavy, super heavy, dirgy. He plays a Les Paul Deluxe.
Okay.
And it's just like, so it's the same guitar, but he's using it in a totally different context, you know.
I got to check them out. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it's super low frequency, low down tune stuff, and it's almost like meditative.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah, it's super interesting, but you think about Gold Tops alone, you got Hubert Sumlin, Link Ray, guy like Carl Perkins, and then Mike Campbell, you know, Joey Santiago. You got all the, you know, people from just all.
Hubert Sumlin, great reference.
Oh my God, man, that guy. Okay.
That's why they wore suits in the Code Talkers.
Really?
Yeah, because Colonel Bruce Hampton thought they should wear suits, and then Hubert Sumlin like told them they looked good one night. I feel like it was the thing. There's a thing about that too. But yeah, they always wore suits on stage. He made them.
They played with Hubert.
Yeah.
So that's a story that Ted told me. Once again, it's not my story to tell, but I don't think he or Hubert would mind. But so they did like maybe a week or something, and one of the places they were playing, they had to get gear for Hubert. He just brought a guitar, I think, and so every night he was playing a different amp. And there was one night where Ted was like, "Hey man, this guy's got any amp you could want, you know, 60s Deluxes, Marshall, like, or a Supro like what you used to play or whatever, you know." And he's like, what would you like? And he said, "Just so it sound." And Ted was like, "What?" And he was like, "Oh, just so it sound." It's like, but he said every night he sounded like you or someone.
God, that's incredible.
On like a Roland jazz chorus at some point, which is about as far from the Delta as you can get as a Roland jazz chorus, but he still sounded just how he played, you know. But
oh my God, famously stolen by Howlin' Wolf from Muddy Waters and then back to Muddy.
Yeah, because I think at one point, one of them fired him because he was playing with a pick.
Oh,
and
is
was
that
like,
what it was?
You got to go home and learn how to play, is what they told him. I believe that's the story. I can't remember which one it was, but they. Wow. And so he went home and started playing without a pick. I believe that's the story, but.
Man, so cool.
Yeah, that guy was, God, it all starts with that guy.
Yeah, he was still in Austin when I moved there, so you'd see him around town.
Man, that shit it still sounds new. It's just like when you hear Are You Experienced? And you're like, I don't even know. I can't believe a person did that.
Yeah.
But when you hear Hubert, you hear Shake For Me, and it's like, who is that?
Well, I almost said that earlier when you were playing, because the haunting sound that you were getting, it's like, yeah.
Well, and that's, some of this stuff is kind of based on old gear, and, but those guys all had like real individual vibrato, like I'm not going to try and do Hubert's vibrato, but, another great Gold Top guy was Freddie King.
Of course.
That early Freddie King stuff is Gold Top. And man, you talk about just that vibrato would put you up against the wall, man. It's just,
and another artist that recorded at the church with Leon.
Yes. Oh, dude.
That Woman Across the River album is so good.
Yeah, that shit is. And then the one before Getting Ready, the one that has Going Down on it.
Yeah.
I don't think was done there, but was maybe mixed there or something. But like Palace of the King, that song, you know that song? That shit is beautiful.
Well, it's for real, because it was somebody that was a songwriter and a crafter of songs said, hey, let me take this bluesy thing that you have, the Only You Do, and then let's like throw some deeper songs into the mix.
Yeah, and that guy, he's obviously a beloved instrumentalist, but man, his voice.
Yeah.
That dude delivers, man. I frequently go watch YouTube clips of him because, man, he has nuance as a player, but like his intensity level is on 10.
Yeah.
At all times. And that what's like makes him great is if he's playing a ballad, he means it so much and he embodies it so much. But he is playing nuanced, and then when he lets it really go, there's nobody that does that. You know what I mean? He's just so individual. And anyways, yeah.
And the gunslinger, he's got his strap only on the front. Just like so,
the most badass shit.
So badass.
It's so great. There's a clip of him, man. If you don't know Freddie King, Have You Ever Loved a Woman? It's a live clip. He's got a collar that goes this far down this. He comes out with a jacket on, straps that guitar on, plays 3 notes. The band's cooking. He plays 3 notes, takes the guitar off, takes his jacket off, and puts the guitar back on. It's just like, who is this guy? It's 12 minutes long, and it does not lose your attention because he's
the dynamics, the way he has the band just basically almost completely drop out.
Yeah, they do like 9 verses, and there's all solos all around. Oh my God, that's a lesson in everything, in show business, and like how to attack a guitar and get all the range out of it. Like that's what I want to be able to do, is like explore as much dynamic range as possible, so that when you are with a singer, that if they're giving it hell like that, you got to be able to, if it comes to you and you're just like a dinky little sound, it's like, dude. But if somebody's quiet, you can, you also got to be able to like play as soft as possible, but yeah.
That's how you feel 10 more. It's when you get 1.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. That's the Colonel Bruce thing, is that silence is what puts the mew in the sick.
Oh, I like that.
It's pretty good, right?
That's so great. Oh, man. Also, when you were talking about Ted Pickey, I was thinking about how his tone on bass, he gets a Willie Dixon tone, that upright sound, but with an electric, and the way he palm mutes, like the way he it's just so incredible, right?
Yeah, we talked about one time, like maybe the second time I played with him, because he uses his thumb so much.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about like between muting and where he's putting his thumb, you can get every length of note you want. And it just, the control, that's a big thing when I watch other people, anybody who's great, even like comedians or something. You go watch a great comedian at the Ryman, there's 2,500 people in there. And dude, their control and their calm. But you watch Ted, he didn't have any, he's just got a bass in an amp, but there's nothing on the floor, man. And he's just got ideas for days, but just the control, you know, he's got his full dynamic range right here, you know, and it's because that's where your note is starting and ending, you know, and playing slide, that's a big thing is like, turn this fuzz off, but like the way I lay my fingers across, I'm muting everything. So my thumb is here and it's blocking these top 3 strings, and then these fingers are down here. So then when I go to play, I'm just, my index finger is starting the note and everything else is blocking. So you get a clear note. Because if you don't do that, get all that other, which at times, if you want to do Elmore James stuff, but if you want a clear note, you got to be able to block like that. But you know, so you're making sure that you're in control of where you're starting and ending, essentially, you know. Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
Dude, I love it. Should we jam a tune really quick?
Let's jam a tune, man.
I get up in the morning, I put my working gloves on. It's been a long time coming, I've been a long time gone. Guess I'll come back when I'm ready, but I don't know when that will be. So I'll keep working for a living, keep on trimming all these leaves. Working for a living, I'm just trying to find a way. I'm searching for answers to questions I can't escape. Working for a living, I'm just trying to find a way to pick up the pieces and take it back to Tennessee. Take it back. The sun, it rises in the mountains, you know it sets into the trees. It's been giving me perspective, keeping my mind at ease. There'll be no more second guessing, got no more tricks up my sleeve. Out here in Paris, California, I keep on trimming all these leaves. Working for a living, I'm just trying to find a way. I'm searching for answers to questions I can't escape. working for a living. I'm just trying to find a way to pick up the pieces and take it back to Tennessee. Let's tag that on the 5. It's been quite some time since I've seen my family. Flat 7. We're gonna live in the moment, 'cause it's our only guarantee. Adam Meisterhans, pleasure to have you on, brother.
Dude, thank you so much, brother.
That was a good way to end it.
Dude, yeah, that's fine.